think nobody can find parking. That's what this shows me.
I'm sorry, there was enough, there wasn't.
I think.
Let's delay. Start. Oh. People are struggling to get parking, so let's start maybe 5.
Oh. Good morning. Welcome to River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Rose Sokol. I'm one of your Board of Trustee members, and we're trying to welcome on the first Sunday of the month from the board. And one of the things we're working on right now is looking for GA delegates for the General Assembly. So if you are interested, check the e-weekly, talk to Reverend Connie, and we hope that you'll consider serving in this way. If this is your first time here in person, welcome. We hope that you will stop by the welcome table across the bridge for coffee hour and get connected. For those watching live on YouTube, welcome. Please feel free to join the chat with our online host. And if you're watching at a later date and have questions, please visit our website and learn how to connect with us at rruuc.org. Today we have an RE, Religious Education Brunch after service in room 32, so we hope that you'll join in. There's also on Wednesday a potluck celebration for our February flow, so please sign up for that at 6:30. It's at 6:30 on Wednesday. And then for details on all our programs and upcoming events, you can find these on our website, rruuc.org. And at this moment, I would like to invite our LNN speaker, Sue Burnett, to say a few words. Thanks, Sue.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm Sue Burnett, speaking to you this morning as a member of the Leadership and Nominations Committee, LNN for short. Each year, this committee assembles a slate of nominees for the Board of Trustees and the LNN Committee for the congregation to consider at the annual meeting in June. The nomination window is open until mid-March, and we are looking for individuals who are voting members to serve in one of two leadership roles. The first is as a member of the Board of Trustees to serve a 3-year term focused on policy, planning, and fiduciary responsibilities, and who will help guide our congregation in the early years with our new minister. The second role is as a member of the LNN committee who serves a 2-year term and focuses on recognizing leadership in all its forms, as well as identifying the next round of nominees who will help build our collective future. There are 3 openings on the board and 4 openings on LNN committee, and the terms for each start at the end of June 2026. I have to admit, I was reluctant to volunteer at times, and there have been times in my life when I didn't have the time or even an ounce of extra energy to give. But when I did, I have found it very heartening and rewarding, surprisingly so, and I developed close relationships through the work. There is no better way to deepen your ties to the people around you than to serve. If you or someone you know are interested in bringing your talents to the overall operations of this congregation, please talk to members of the LNN committee after the service in the fellowship hall, or send an email to rrlncommittee@rruuc.org. I don't expect you to remember that. You can find us on Realm as well. You can nominate yourself or someone you feel would do well in these positions. Thank you. We hope to hear from you.
We begin our time together by lighting our chalice, the chosen symbol of our faith, with these words by Reverend Rebecca Savage. Welcome to this sacred place. Welcome to worship. Welcome to who you are, joyful and excited this day. Welcome to you who are weary and in need of rest. Welcome to you who are seeking deeper meaning and purpose in the infinite expanse of life. Today we come with full hearts and open spirits to be open to the possibility that what we receive here will inspire us, to mend up our tender parts, nourish our waning spirits, and give us enough wisdom and energy to embody resilience with every breath. Let us worship together.
The uncooperative flame. There we go. Yay. Are you ready to sing? So I have to tell you something first. We have been having some issues with our projector. And a new filter and a new battery still seem to have it. Not sure it wants to operate all the time. Maybe it's the snow, maybe it's the ice, who knows. That's why we've asked you all to grab a hymnal. So if at any time today you are expecting to see lyrics and nothing appears, that's why. So you don't need to tell us the words aren't there. We know. We're working on it. But let's rise in body or spirit and sing Wade in the Water. It's a pretty easy hymn, so you might not even need the words. Yeah. That's one I'm going to add to the list of hymns we need to work on.
Good morning. I'm Laura Piervincenzi, Associate Director of Religious Education. 2 weeks ago, we honored Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who famously taught the world to stand up for justice with love and courage. Not as well known are the many people who, long before Dr. King, practiced resistance and worked to make our world more fair. One of those people was Fannie Barrier Williams, a Unitarian whose life illustrates what it means to live our UU value of justice. Here's her story. More than 150 years ago, before cars and airplanes, when women wore long skirts and never pants, a little girl named Fanny Barrier lived in New York with her parents, her brother George, and her sister Ella. Fanny and her siblings went to school, they did chores, they played in the snow, and they went to church on Sundays with their parents, just like many families do now. Her dad was a deacon, her mom taught Bible school, and Fanny loved to play the piano and paint. In many ways, her life was ordinary and happy, but one thing made it very different. Fanny Barrier was a Black girl. During Fanny's lifetime, women were denied many of the rights given to men, and Black people were denied many of the rights given to white people. Girls, women, and Black people were oppressed. When Fanny was grown, she headed to Boston to pursue the study of music and art. But when she got to the school, her classmates said, "We don't want her here. She's dark, she doesn't belong. If she stays, we'll go." The school told Fanny to leave. She then came to Washington, D.C. to study painting. There, she was made to sit behind a screen so no one could see her. "If the other students know you're here," her teacher warned, "they'll make you go." Over and over again, people told Fanny she didn't belong, not because of who she was inside, but because she was a Black woman. It wasn't fair. It was racism, and Fanny knew it. When Fanny was older and living in Chicago, some women invited her to join a club, but other members of the group said, "No, if she stays, we leave." They argued about it for more than a year. Finally, Fanny was voted into the club, but when she joined, those other women left. Fanny, of course, was hurt. It hurts when people won't let you belong. It hurts when people don't want you around. Some days Fanny felt angry about it. Some days she felt sad. But most days, Fanny had no energy to feel angry or sad because she was busy making groups of her own. She and her husband, the lawyer Samuel Williams, found a home at All Souls Unitarian Church of Chicago. When the city began planning for the World's Fair in 1893, Fanny's minister organized the World's Parliament of Religions, a gathering where people from all over the world could learn about one another's religion. Fanny pushed for Black women to be on the planning committee, and she was invited to speak at the gathering. In her moving speech, she demanded that churches do a better job of practicing what they preached when it came for justice for Black people. Because of this powerful speech, Fanny Barrier Williams became famous. She was invited to deliver her message everywhere she could. Fanny fought for women's right to vote and helped found the NAACP, one of the most important civil rights organizations in our country. Fanny didn't live to see everything she dreamed of come true, but because she resisted, taught, built, and believed, some forward strides did happen in her lifetime. Most of all, she showed what it means to practice justice, not just wish for it. This story reminds us that Dr. King carried the torch in the fight against oppression. People like Fanny Barrier Williams helped light it. We are the ones to carry that light forward now. Every time we speak up, bear witness to, or help change something unfair, we are practicing resistance and we are living our UU value of justice. Now it is time for children and youth and educators to go to their classrooms. Thank you.
We're going to do our joys and sorrows a little bit differently this Sunday. I'm going to start by inviting you to sing. There is more love somewhere. just that verse, just one time. You ready? This week, a lot of devastating things happened. I sent you an email on Monday about a house fire at the home of Reverend Nancy McDonald Ladd. She and her family are displaced and waiting to see what can be salvaged. You all responded just gloriously to the GoFundMe that had an original goal of, I don't even remember what the original goal was, but I was looking at the names, and first it was all of the ministers, because we knew first. And then after I sent the message, I looked again, and it was River Road, River Road, River Road, River Road. And within an hour, more than 5 times the original goal had been reached. It was amazing to see. And in my message, I reminded you all that as much as you may want to reach out, please don't. As you can imagine, right now, it's a very, very busy and stressful time for Reverend Nancy and for her family. And those of you who knew her would not be surprised to know that she was back at work the next day, because of the things that were happening in the world and because of the things that have been happening in our denomination. And I know that there are many of you, and if I haven't responded to all the messages, I'm sorry, but I've had people say, I want to give them clothes, I want to bake them food, I want to do this, I want to do that. Reverend Nancy sent me we've been texting pretty much every day, and she sent me a message that said, tell them I love them with my whole heart, and please no casseroles. Except for one, but that's already been arranged. And, you know, our denominational practices and guidelines are in some ways archaic, some ways odd. But for 2 years after a minister's departure, the congregation is asked not to be in contact with your former minister. We are still within those 2 years. And when there is a situation of devastation like this, when there is a loss, how many of you have ever experienced anything like a fire, a death, an unexpected illness? You know that your friends love you. But it's so hard when you're getting 150 different text messages every minute or emails. So I'm asking you all, if you have a message that you want to get sent through, send it to me. I'm gathering them and sending them kind of in bunches as she's ready. And she sent me a text on Friday and said, I have something I want to say to the congregation. Would you read it, please? So here it is. The night before the fire, I had a dream about abundance. Cliff Harden and I were at an all-you-can-eat buffet. There was a room of hungry people milling around, many of you among them. No one seemed to want to go first, so we did. This is what leadership looks like, Cliff said. And we tucked in, he and I, to the abundance before us. Somehow in this dreamscape, we knew that if we were brave enough to get what we needed, to take what was sweet and wonderful in this life, others would follow. And that is the thing about a community. Sometimes leadership just means receiving what is spread out before you with wild abundance and grace. There is an abundance in this place, a spreading out of what is necessary and what is sweet and wonderful, even in these terrible, painful times. Don't be afraid to take what you need. I'm not in practice at writing sermons anymore, so I'll keep this short. Thank you for your generosity and your care, even from a distance. Because of your graciousness, we'll go back to something better than builder grade in 6 months or so. Because of your graciousness, I can move these amazing, courageous kids who learn to be brave in River Road's RE program out of this hotel and into an apartment before the insurance finishes their wrangling. Because of your graciousness, there is an abundant table laid out before us all. Once again, with all my heart, thank you. With great love, Reverend Nancy. Let's sing, There Is More Love Somewhere. There is more. Happened this week. Clergy returned from Minneapolis, or tried to. There were flights disrupted all over the place. I was at the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association Institute for the Ministry. Yeah, I was supposed to have flown there last Monday morning. And because of the pending storm, I left at the crack of dawn on Saturday. So last week when we did worship, I was sitting in a hotel room in New Mexico. And all of my colleagues were trying to get into New Mexico. Those who were coming straight from Minneapolis, those who were trying to get there from homes, everybody was trying to get somewhere. Our UUA president, Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, wasn't planning to join us in New Mexico because she was going to be in Washington, D.C. at the Senate office building for an interfaith protest. While she was there, she was arrested. She had been sitting on the floor in a prayerful position, and the officer made her stand and zip-tied her hands and led her out and arrested her. There is a very small group of black ministers in this denomination that keeps in touch regularly. My phone went off right away. Sitting in the ballroom with all these ministers around me, Sophia's been arrested. Someone shared a video, but nobody in the room knew yet. And my heart kind of skipped a beat, and I looked around, and I could tell who else had received that message. And then it was time for the State of the Association address, which the UUA president delivers to all of the assembled ministers. And there were hundreds of us in the room, and many, many, many more online. And it was a video, which I knew she had prepared ahead of time. But as I watched, I thought, that's my president. Speaking to us courageously, knowing that she's about to go to this protest, not knowing what may happen, though I suspecting what would happen. So we saw a video. The executive vice president of the UUA answered questions, and then within about an hour or two, the article came out in UU World announcing her arrest. So when I said Reverend Nancy McDonald Ladd was working, she was working this week. I want to read to you just a little bit of Reverend Betancourt's remarks. This was at the interfaith gathering. The gathering was called Praying with Our Feet. It was held to advocate the defunding of ICE in advance of the Senate vote regarding the DHS budget. Beloveds, I am the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, President of the Unitarian Universalist Association. I am a proud daughter of immigrants and have experienced up close what it means to believe in a United States that takes pride in being a nation of immigrants and insists on the sacredness of all people. The breach of that foundational story and our targeting of our immigrant neighbors sounds a clarion call to condemn the ongoing violence and violation of basic human rights. As an Afro-Latina woman born in this country, I am also aware that the violence we are seeing directed today at Black and brown communities and queer and immigrant communities already made vulnerable by systemic oppression is yet another foundational story of this nation. From slave patrols in the past to ICE and DHS targeting our neighbors, all people of faith and conscience must resist the structures of empire, fascism, and tyranny that call us here today. We must defund ICE. Unitarian Universalists believe in the values of pluralism, interdependence, justice, and generosity as matters of religious faith. We hold sacred the belief that love lives at the center of all we do. Recent events have torn families apart, terrorized already vulnerable communities, and killed individuals doing nothing more than protecting their neighbors. They not only violate basic human decency, they are also an affront to the values that all people of faith and conscience hold sacred. I've just returned from Minneapolis, where hundreds of clergy and faith leaders from across religious traditions responded to a call for spiritual care and moral witness in response to the actions of an agency our tax dollars are supporting. I'm here today with my siblings of many faith traditions because we know that budgets are moral documents. There is no moral justification for voting for a budget that will put more resources toward the violation and dehumanization of our neighbors. As religious leaders, we have an ethical obligation to show up and say that this will not be done in our name. My thanks and gratitude to those who are keeping us organized and engaged. To our beloveds, so many who are in harm's way, we will not forsake you. We are here with you in the name of all that we hold holy until the very end. May you be held safe and whole until that day. If you want to read the entire remarks, they are linked at uuworld.org. Let us sing, "There is more peace somewhere." So many things have happened in the world this week, and so many things have happened in our own lives this week. In this space, I invite you to speak aloud, or maybe to your heart, what has been your joy or your sorrow over this past week. believe there is more love somewhere. Sing it like a prayer. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. Amen.
In support of our congregation and the community beyond, the morning offering will be greatly received. We do so mindful of the fact that we draw water from wells we did not dig and pick fruit from trees we did not plant. This is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after. If this is your first time visiting, please feel free to let the plate pass you by. Your presence is your gift to us. To learn more about why we give of our financial treasure, you can check out our website at rruuc.org. There you can find information on our vibrant programs and all the ways to connect to the mission and vision of this community. You can also give right there on the main page by clicking the blue Give Online button. You can also text to give. The text to give number is 73256. Text RRUUC and the amount you'd like to give to the number 73256. You will receive a link to complete your donation. Thank you for sharing your time, your talents, and your treasure.
I like poetry, but I don't usually write it. But I was challenged to do so by the Reverend Dr. Mark Morrison Reed. So I wrote a poem 12 years ago, and it's called There. Feels like we've been traveling forever, but we're still not there. Lord knows we've tried, each in our own way, to get there, wherever there is. Working groups, task forces, coalitions, allies, resolutions and programs, catchy acronyms and fancy names. We think and talk, then think and talk some more. Lord knows we've tried, each in our own way, to get there, wherever there is. They try so hard to include me, but I thought I was already included. Now I feel like an outsider. Lord knows we've tried, each in our own way, to get there, wherever there is. I know it's better than it was, but it still feels like I'm supposed to set aside a piece of who I am in order to belong. I won't do it. My Unitarian and Universalist ancestors worked too hard for me to give up now. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper whispers softly in my ear, "Keep going, child." Yes, ma'am. It's a struggle, I say, but I don't feel no ways tired. We've made some progress and we'll make some more. We'll keep trying. We'll get there someday, wherever there is.
Get ready.
You like my shirt today? For as long as I am Black, I am historic. I always have feels about Black History Month, especially in Unitarian Universalist churches, in a lot of places, actually. But it's true. For as long as I am Black, I am historic. I don't know who put these words together, but whoever spoke it, it is a profound truth. Not just in February, but every single day, every breath, every time I stand in this pulpit, every time I walk on the street, I am historic. My maternal grandfather's family were free Blacks as far back as 1820, settling a town that eventually became known as Lincoln University, Pennsylvania. My mother, as a young teenager, refused to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner during a civil rights protest in Atlantic City. My folks were brave and resilient people. This is where I come from. This is the stuff that I'm made of. And fast forward from being a little girl, hearing those stories, to 2017, when I'm in seminary, about to come out and graduate and become a minister. And it's still hard because Dr. Samuel A. Eliot, the first president of the American Unitarian Association and one of the greatest administrators our denomination has ever had, referred to Blacks as more nearly brutes than anything I have ever known. He and many of his contemporaries in the 1920s believed that Blacks lacked the intellectual capacity to grasp Unitarianism because, we're not that smart. Eliot's attitude would soften over the years, and later he wrote, "As to the darkies, I can't get enough of them. Our men are above average, for they can read and write, but such happy-go-lucky, merry, shiftless rascals as they all are. I never get tired of listening to them. I've seen a great deal of them, for they work best with a white man bossing them all the while, and I've had that duty several times." I know. 100 years ago, right? But even in the 50s, just a couple of years, maybe 10 years before Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke to the Unitarian Universalist Association, Dana Greeley was then the president of the Unitarian Association. Speaking about David Eaton, a seminarian then at Boston University, Greeley said, "Personally, I'd love to have you, but I'm afraid we couldn't settle you. Congregations aren't ready for a Black minister." Fast forward another 50 years to the time when I was writing that poem. During a seminar on the ministerial settlement process in response to a question about my career prospects, then UUA Transitions Director Keith Cron bravely and honestly warned me that a lot of congregations say they're ready for a minister of color, but they're really not. Ouch. I didn't quite know what to make of that news. The foundation upon which I'd built my dream of becoming a minister was cracking and threatening to come crashing down around me. When I looked around the sanctuary at my home church of First Unitarian in Philadelphia on Sunday mornings, and when I looked around in the Joseph Priestley district, which is the Mid-Atlantic region of congregations, and even at General Assembly, I saw a few people who looked like me. Not a lot, but some. I knew of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, of Howard Thurman, of Bill Sinkford, and David Eaton, who did end up getting a church, by the way, All Souls, D.C. These are the big names in African American, Unitarian, Universalist, and UU history. But it wasn't until I took Mark Morrison Reed's African American history class at Meadville Lombard Theological School that I learned the truth. He stood before us one day, arms outstretched, tears streaming down his face, which isn't unusual for Mark if you know him. And he said, "We were always there. We've always been here." And then he listed the names of Unitarians, Universalists, and UUs I'd never heard of. We'd always been there. He cried for them. Many of them lost to history, their contributions, their participation, their very existence in this denomination, all but forgotten. He cried for them all that day. We all did, and we still do. We cry for Joseph Jordan, the first African American to be ordained as a Universalist minister and founder of the First Universalist Church of Norfolk, which had a day school that at its peak served up to 100 black students per week. We cry for Peter Humphreys Clark, educator, abolitionist, writer, and speaker who became a member of the First Unitarian Church of Cincinnati in 1868, its first and only black member until 1952. We cried for Clarence Bertrand Thompson, the first African American in ministerial fellowship with the American Unitarian Association. He had bachelor's and master's degrees from Harvard in sociology and economics, was a lawyer, and served as minister of the Unitarian Church of Peabody, Massachusetts from 1906 to 1909. We cried for William Jackson, a Baptist minister who wanted to convert to Unitarianism and sought to be a Unitarian minister, only to be turned away by the white AUA at its annual meeting in 1860. And after being snubbed by them, he stayed a Baptist and left Unitarianism behind. We were always there. One of the founding members of the First Universalist Church of Philadelphia was a black woman. One of the founding members of another Unitarian church was a freed black man in 1796 named Gloucester Dalton. We were always there, and many are still here. Even after losing a significant number of black UUs over the empowerment controversy in the late 1960s, we're still here. We're still here in congregations. In 1940, there were 2 black Unitarian ministers. At Meadville Lombard, when I was a student, there were 7 black seminarians, with 3 of us planning to go into parish ministry. And when I was called to be the settled minister of a congregation as a black woman, one of my colleagues welcomed me into the club. In this whole denomination of, at that time, 1,046 congregations, there are now 7 black women leading congregations. 7 in 2018. There are now black ministers, black musical directors, black religious educators, and denominational leaders. A black man, William Sinkford, was even the first black president of the UUA. He served again in that term in a tri-presidency with Leon Spencer and Sophia Betancourt. Sophia is the first black woman to be an elected president of the UUA. We're making progress, but we're not there yet. Keith's comment reminded me of that. I was reminded again the last time I was doing this interim search stuff. I had been interviewed by a very prominent congregation in the Northeast, and they loved my background. Oh my God, you're a lawyer. Oh my God, you got multiple degrees. Oh my God, you're so well spoken. And they listened to my sermons, and they were like, you know, you're our favorite. I was like, okay, whatever. You're not supposed to tell me that, but okay. And then I got a call from a member of the search team. We really love you, but we're afraid you might talk about black stuff too much from our pulpit. So if you can kind of calm that down a little bit, we would love to have you. To which I replied, no, thank you. A while back, I was asked to preach about race at a small fellowship in a kind of rural area. And when I mentioned this to some friends, the response was, oh, let them have it. Give it to them good. And that bothered me. I'm not here for entertainment. I don't say this stuff to shame you or to harm you, because racism is real. And me lecturing you about your white privilege isn't going to get us anywhere. So instead, I told them what it's like for me to be a black UU and let them connect the dots for themselves. In the story Laura shared, she talked about how Fannie Barrier Williams felt frustrated and angry and all of those things. Well, let me tell you, that's real. That's so real. Today, that's real. Being a black UU is great most of the time, and sometimes it's lonely. When I go to meetings and I'm the only one there, month after month, week after week, or as one of my friends says, being the only chocolate chip in the cookie. Sometimes as a black UU, I feel unimportant. This is the flip side of being lonely. Often in our eagerness to be inclusive, we say we don't see color. We say we're all the same on the inside. Or my favorite, you list all the black people you know and you've been friends with. We're not all the same anywhere, inside or out. We are all individuals. I want you to see my blackness. I just don't want that to be all you see. My blackness is a part of who I am, just like my hazel eyes. Don't treat me differently because of it, but don't ignore it either. To be honest, it hurts me when you tell me to my face, that you're colorblind, because that tells me that you don't view me as a whole person. And when you refuse to see all of me, you see none of me. Sometimes, being a black UU, I feel frustrated. There's more to the race problem in this country than just police violence or ICE or all of the things. There is generational poverty, inferior schools, financial illiteracy, unemployment, underemployment, and lack of opportunity. We're talking about the perpetuation of systemic oppression. These are things that people who look like me often deal with every single day. It's not new. Systemic racism runs deep in our society. Sometimes it's blatant, and sometimes it's subtle and nuanced. Very subtle. When I lived in Memphis, I used to escape Memphis and drive to Atlanta for civilization. I don't know. Whatever. Sports, whatever. One time I was stopped by a Mississippi state trooper who said, "That's an awfully nice car you have there. Where are you going?" Or another time when I built a semi-custom home in a new area outside of Denver. The streets hadn't even all been finished yet. All I had was my bill of sale, and I went to see how my house was progressing. And because there was construction in the way, they had blocked a street, and I wasn't allowed to turn the way I knew how to get there, so I was just sitting for a minute. And the Denver police came up to me and asked me what I was doing in that neighborhood. Or when a classmate of mine, who was a young black man, told me that he wears glasses to soften his face so he won't look so scary to white people. He also wore a dress shirt every day so that he wouldn't look threatening. That breaks my heart. He couldn't focus on being a UU just because he was busy just trying to live while black. How does it feel to be a black UU? Sometimes I'm wary. Unitarian and Unitarian Universalist attention to anti-racism has waxed and waned over the years as issues such as women's suffrage, reproductive freedom, Vietnam, LGBTQ issues, and marriage equality moved to the forefront of our collective denominational conscience. We were back up again when we got to Black Lives Matter. But then that started slipping when Trump came. Now we're only going to focus on Trump. We don't have time for that racism stuff. And now we see once again that we're stuck in this cycle of back and forth and back and forth. This cycle that's been going on in this country for 400 years. I'm not ready to have my heart broken again. How does it feel to be a black UU? I'll tell you, most of the time it's great, and sometimes I'm just tired. I'm just tired. People ask me why I'm not on Facebook, and there's a reason why. There was a person who tried to friend me on Facebook, and we chatted for a little bit, and she posted something in a UU group, and I really wasn't trying to talk about race, but that's what she wanted to talk about. The first time, the second time, and the third time. The trouble was that was all she ever wanted to talk to me about. I was getting messages every day about white people's issues with Black Lives Matter and at that time, the first Trump administration. And then I'd have white people all over apologizing to me for their white privilege because they just learned what white privilege was. I was so tired. I was tired. I just wanted people to talk to me about dogs. Or talk to me about tennis. Or talk to me about music. It just makes me tired. And they say, be careful what you wish for. Because now sometimes we don't talk about race at all. Now every sentence starts with Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. But I don't get to move on from being black. It's never easy. Sometimes I'm lonely, I'm weary, I'm frustrated, and I'm tired, all at the same time. It's a lot. It really is a lot. And I stay because this is my faith. This is my chosen faith. And what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Well, I'll tell you. In the months following the inauguration, a year ago, many African Americans, myself included, stepped back from frontline protest activism. After Vice President Harris's defeat, despite winning 86% of the black vote, where we had done our work, I had some feels. Black women showed up. We showed up in the last election. We organized, we voted, we did everything we were supposed to do. But if you look at the demographics of who voted for Trump, it wasn't people who look like me. And many of us sat back and said, you voted for it, you fix it. And that's hard. That's a hard place to be. But we're not sitting back anymore. Just this week, hundreds of UU clergy and lay people answered the call in Minneapolis, black folks among them, traveling from across the country to stand with immigrant communities facing ICE's Operation Maestro Surge. They marched in sub-zero temperatures. About a dozen UU clergy were among the 100 arrested at the airport, risking their bodies in peaceful witness. Our own president, our black UUA president, Reverend Sophia Betancourt, was out there in Minneapolis, and she was in D.C. this week, standing with other faith leaders, declaring that a dangerous line has been crossed. That's what prophetic witness looks like in 2026. I wasn't on that plane to Minneapolis in January, mainly because I knew I couldn't run with my situation. But I'm not sitting back anymore either. As a black woman in ministry during this moment, I show up where I'm called. I resist by being here, by preaching truth, by holding my people in love while refusing to carry burdens that are not mine to carry alone. My ancestors taught me this. They endured, they persevered, and they thrived. They knew when to rest and when to rise, and I honor them by doing the same. As long as I am black, I am historic. Joseph Jordan was historic. Peter Humphreys Clark was historic. Clarence Bertrand Thompson was historic. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper was historic. Fannie Barrier Williams was historic. Sophia Betancourt is historic. The UU clergy arrested in Minneapolis are historic. And don't you ever forget that I am historic. Standing here in this pulpit on this day, carrying the torch for those who came before and those who will come after. We were always there. We are always here, and we always will be. Amen. Thank you, y'all. Maybe not what you were expecting this morning, but some things I needed to say. That's what freedom of the pulpit's about. So now we're going to sing our closing hymn. Cliff and I talk about the closing hymn and what hymns fit. And I said, well, there's one I want to sing, but I got to talk about it first because I got feels about it. I got feels about everything, if you haven't figured that out. In 1900, Florida school principal James Weldon Johnson wrote a poem entitled Lift Every Voice and Sing, which was to be read at the celebration of Abraham Lincoln's birthday. With his brother John, they set the poem to music, and the song became known as the Negro National Anthem. Today, we still call it the Black National Anthem. We, and I always tell you, mind your we, people who look like me, we are very protective of this song. Like the Star-Spangled Banner, it must be treated with respect. That's why we always rise when we sing it. The first time I heard it sung in a UU church as part of a service, I got to tell you, I felt a little uneasy. And it turned out okay. Because it's such a special song for me. It's a wonder joy experience of collective presence It's an expression of gratitude for how far we've come and a prayer for the future. I sing it with profound awe and deep respect, with loyalty, with love, and with adulation. I sing it in honor of my ancestors and every Black person who came before me and who will come after me. I sing it with reverence. So now, I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and join me in singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. Amen. Amen.
Got to take a minute to breathe and say amen, Reverend Connie, and ditto. Our Unitarian Universalist principles and values call us to live our values aloud, not alone, and encourages us to be open-minded, open-hearted spiritual communities, helping people lead lives of justice, love, learning, and hope. Here are some ways you can live your values in the coming weeks. Join the conversation about the UUA Common Read, Social Change Now by Deepa Iyer. This is a 3-session discussion on Monday evenings, all on Zoom. You can sign up on Realm. There will also be a 1-session discussion of the book during Flow on Wednesday, February 11th from 6:30 to 8:30. You can sign up for that on Realm as well. If you are looking for ways to contribute to serving this community, making it as welcoming and inviting as possible for all who belong here, feel free to sign up to join our growing Usher Greeter team. There will be a training workshop here in the sanctuary on Saturday morning, I believe at 10:30, if I'm not wrong. If you're interested in that, see me after the service or send me an email. And now, we will extinguish our chalice with the words of Elizabeth Sell Jones. I invite you to read them aloud with me. We close our time of worship. I said that already. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Yes, today is February 1st. Black History Month is every day. As long as I am Black, I am historic. As you travel in the world this week, I hope you remember just one little piece of that. Just one little piece. That we were always there. We are always here. And even though when you look around, Adrian moved. Right? So think about it. These things that may not apply to you in your situation here, but just keep it in mind. As we prepare to leave this place, may we always remember that there is more love somewhere. There is more joy. There is more hope. There is more peace there, wherever there is. Blessings and go in peace.